Hi, my name's Mark Pearce, and this is my third Dirty Reiver. I just thought I'd do a bit of a voiceover to go with some of the images from the day. As many of you know, we started in the castle on a bright, crisp morning, perfect weather for it. I think there's 1,200 people signed up for the 200, the 130 and the 65 in total. And I started within about the first, I don't know, maybe 100 or so. And this is the sort of scenes that you get from that big pack, all bowling along. So it's still fairly early here. The little short sharp climb which we've just gone over flattens out a little bit, and then we're going to hit some gravel in a minute, and the race doesn't start for another 2 or 3 minutes, I don't think, along a gravel track. But now we've moved on here. This is so you can see from the display up here we're about 18k in, and it's already starting to split up. Still people around, but the trails are awesome. It was absolutely mental the first sort of 15-20 minutes. So I ride to power, and I was constantly trying to back off, thinking there's no way I can hold this all the way to the finish line. And gradually you sort of pick up people and ride with them. I'm a reasonably fast descender, and I find it sometimes a bit difficult to sit in the pack, so I just roll. I'm 85 kilos, I'm maybe more confident than some people on some of the corners, and so I just tend to roll through groups, trying not to cause too much trouble, and then that gives me a little bit of leeway. Then when we got the next hill, and because I'm heavier I don't climb as well, then I've got a chance of that group then catching me back up again, and we can get stuck in again. You can see the lovely terrains here, and this is another group I've caught, which we now move forward to about 36k. This is in that really strong headwind, so coming towards the end of it when we turn to sort of head towards feed 1. And here I picked up a really good group. They caught me about halfway along the headwind section, and I got a little bit of shelter from them, and really paid dividends, kept me moving along. Nick, who was somebody I know, I don't know many people who do this, but Nick, I'd passed him about maybe 20 minutes earlier, and this helped to pull him away. I think this is the same group, just a little bit further on as we head down into a couple of corners, but again you can still see bright sunshine. Loads of dust on the screen from the trails, so I had to keep wiping it. Sometimes I'd forget, so the picture's not quite as good. But again, we can see from the digital display on here we've already done 800 meters of climbing, and we've only 40k in. Pretty loose on some of those corners. Got to get your lines right, and then nasty little steep rise coming out of that one. So this group I stayed with for a little bit longer, but then went through feed 1, up the long drag up the back, where I forgot to take any video, and this is now on the way down from that. So this is pretty fast. It's not particularly steep in any place, but you can get a nice tailwind, so you can get some good speed up. That's my chin you can see in the top there. I've sort of tucked down a little bit. Clearly on my own, can't see anybody at the moment in front of me, and I don't think there's anybody too close behind me. So just pottering along down here. A little bit of a sprint up over the rise there, but you can see sort of the marbles on there, and this is a fairly simple descent in a lot of ways because there's not that many corners. There's a pretty good line down the middle, and but these I'm doing 60 odd k an hour around these corners here, and it does slide around a little bit. Out of interest, I'm on 35mm Gravel King SKs with about 40 psi in each. Hanging out a little bit there, just got slightly offline onto the loose stuff. When you get on the loose stuff, it's really difficult to get around those corners, but all good. Beautiful scenery. When you have a chance to have a look at it, it's probably not the greatest time to be doing that now, as we're coming into this fast right-hander. So again, I think I've done this one once before, and I had a right slide out there. It didn't come off, but just about managed to stay upright. Then you can see the tassels on the fence here. We've got a massive side wind coming in here, and these two riders are a little bit less confident, and almost the worst thing you can do is stop pedaling and sort of put your feet down. Just pedal hard. Absolutely rock solid, no stability issues there with that. Across the road, and then we jump forward. We're at 68k, a little bit more climbing under the belt. We can see the sort of 300 figure there. That's power output. Nice nasty climb, 14-15%. I'm running GRX front chain set, so 48-31 with an 11-30 on the rear. And I've done my previous 2 editions, I've done this with the 50-34 Ultegra chain set on, and run a 34 cassette. but I thought the smaller jumps between the 1130, pretty much the same gear, and at no point was I ever really over geared. A couple of points I might be down to 60 RPM, but other than that it was all fine. Back on my own again, through a little bit more of forestry trails here, so really good mix, slight up, slight down, got to keep the momentum going. Again, you can see nice fast surfaces. Probably doesn't do it justice actually looking at the screen on there as to how good some of the surfaces are. I think I've seen more potholes on the local roads than I did riding around the forest there. Here we go with another little descent, rolling over the top, keep it moving. So at this point here we're now on our way towards, where are we? Yeah, it's about 20k to feed 2, so we've got a little bit more gravel to do here. A couple of decent tailwind sections actually, and there was a nasty little headwind section actually. But generally, because of the way this is the steeper side of it, it's a little bit more hilly I think, and so when you did get into trees, then you got quite a lot more shelter. The second half of the course, where I didn't actually take much video unfortunately, was a lot more brutal, and being in a group made a massive difference. We're now heading towards 95k, and some nice little twisty, they're not, I wouldn't say call them single tracks, but they're not fire roads obviously, and just provided a little bit of entertainment as you come in around the lake, onto a quick bit of road and then back onto the next bit. And then, so this is now where we're 113k, so we're now right out onto the moors. So as you can see, the sort of terrain's changed a bit now. We haven't quite got the steep climbs and the longer climbs, so it's just up and down a lot, and much more exposed. So this is what it looked like for quite a long time. And now we're onto the dam. So again, nasty little headwind across here. Just trying to keep it steady. And then we head up. So thanks to the guys giving a bit of support. I think this is one of the timing points here. So that's awesome support. It was amazing to see so many people out in the middle of nowhere, and it was all cheering, and the aid stations were awesome as well. So great selection. This is the final climb. I was hanging a bit here, so this was basically the nail in my coffin. So I'd ridden pretty well up to here, and I think I just struggled a little bit. At this point I haven't seen anyone also for about, I don't know, nearly an hour, 45 minutes. It's pretty much since about an hour before we hit the third feed. And I'd just seen no one, and I think my brain had switched off a little bit. But anyway, it was an awesome day, so pleased I did it. Hope that helps if anybody's interested in doing it in the future. See you in the next video.